The galaxy was full of war. Different alien races were fighting each other in space. They used big ships and strange weapons. Many planets had been destroyed, but Earth stayed away from all of it. The leaders of Earth did not want to join the war, they wanted peace. Earth had seen many wars in the past. The people were tired of fighting. So Earth closed its doors and watched from far away. The United Earth Coalition was formed to protect the planet. It was a group of leaders from all countries. They believed that Earth was not ready for another war. They built strong walls in space and made sure no one could enter without permission. Earth did not help any side in the galactic war. It stayed quiet and hoped no one would come near. Captain Laura Burns used to be a space pilot. She had flown missions around the moon and near Mars. She had seen battles before and lost many friends. Now she lived in a quiet part of Arizona. She liked her peace. She grew plants in her garden and taught young pilots in a small academy. She thought her days of flying were over. Ethan Brooks was an engineer who worked in a spaceport. He repaired old satellites and helped build small space stations. He was smart and worked hard. He had a small family and lived near the coast. He liked fixing machines and dreaming about stars. Dana Lewis was a young scientist. She studied alien signals and space waves. She spent her time in a lab listening to strange sounds from far away. She was good with computers and had a sharp mind. She wanted to learn everything about space and the beings that lived out there. One day, a signal came from the asteroid belt. It was a distress call from an alien ship. The ship had crashed near a large rock. No one knew where it came from. The message was broken and strange. The United Earth Coalition sent probes to check, but they did not send people. A private defense group asked Laura to help. They needed someone with experience. Laura said no at first. She did not want to go back to space, but they told her it was serious. Something was wrong out there. After thinking for a day, Laura agreed. She called Ethan and Dana. She trusted them and wanted them on the team. The three of them left Earth in a small ship. They moved slowly and carefully. When they reached the asteroid belt, they saw the alien ship. It was broken and full of holes. Some parts were still glowing. They landed on the big rock next to it and went inside. The ship was strange and cold. The walls were made of metal they had never seen. Inside, they found things that looked like weapons and strange machines. Dana took many pictures. Ethan checked the engines. Laura walked ahead with a small scanner. In the back of the ship, they found a room full of containers. Some were open. Inside, there were strange life forms. Some were dead. Others were still moving. They looked dangerous. Dana found a file in the alien computer. It showed a map with Earth marked in red. There were other planets marked too. It looked like the aliens were planning to come close to Earth. Laura felt a cold fear in her chest. This was not just a crash. This was part of something bigger. She told the team to take what they could and leave fast. Back on their ship, Dana tried to decode the map. She saw routes coming close to Earth. It was not far away. Maybe weeks or even days. They flew back to Earth and gave the data to the coalition. The leaders listened but did not act. They said it could be a mistake. They did not want to scare people. They said Earth was still safe. Laura was angry. She told them they had to prepare, but they said no. Back home, Ethan could not sleep. He kept thinking about what they saw. Dana stayed up reading the alien files. Laura sat in her garden, watching the stars. She knew this was not the end. Something was coming. Earth had stayed out of the war, but the war was coming to Earth. The news about the alien ship stayed hidden. The leaders of Earth did not want people to panic. They said the ship was old and not a danger. But Laura, Ethan, and Dana knew the truth. They had seen the ship and the map. They knew Earth was not safe. A week later, another strange thing happened. A big flash was seen near the edge of the solar system. It was bright and strong. Some said it was a comet. Others said it was a ship exploding. Dana looked at the space cameras and found something strange. A small object was moving fast toward the asteroid belt. Laura called her old contact in the defense group. She asked for a ship. She said they needed to go back. The group agreed. They gave her a bigger ship this time. It had better tools and weapons. Ethan fixed the engines. Dana brought her computers. They left again. When they reached the asteroid belt, they found the truth. A new alien ship had arrived. It was not damaged. It was big and full of power. It had landed close to the crash site. Laura kept the ship hidden behind rocks. They watched the alien ship. Strange creatures were walking outside. They were tall and had long arms. Their suits looked like armor. They were picking up parts of the old ship. They were also building something. Dana zoomed in with her camera. She saw they were placing machines on the rocks. It looked like they were setting up a base. Ethan checked the scanners. He saw that the new ship had many weapons. If they attacked Earth, the cities would not stand a chance. Laura said they had to stop them. Dana said they had to get more proof. First, they flew closer, hiding in the shadows. At night, one of the machines sent out a signal. Dana recorded it. It was a message in alien code. She worked fast to break the code. After hours of work, she found the meaning. The message was calling for more ships. The aliens were setting up a way to bring in a full fleet. Laura knew they had no time. They had to stop this before it was too late. She made a plan. They would sneak into the base and place bombs on the machines. They would leave before the explosions. Ethan made the bombs. They were small but strong. That night, they put on their suits and left the ship. They moved slowly on the rocks. The aliens were not looking. Laura placed the first bomb near the signal tower. Ethan placed 2 more near the power lines. Dana found a machine that looked like a gate. She placed the last bomb there. They went back to the ship and flew away. Laura pressed the button. The bombs exploded. Bright fire filled the sky. The alien camp broke apart. The ship was damaged. The gate was gone. The aliens started to search the area, but Laura had already gone back. On Earth, the leaders still said nothing. But now the defense group had proof. They showed the video of the alien base. They showed the message. Still, the leaders were slow to act. They said Earth should not start a war. One day later, a mining station on the moon stopped sending signals. The people there were gone. Cameras showed a flash before the silence. No one could explain it. Laura knew it was the aliens. They were getting close. Ethan went to visit his brother, who worked on a space station. He found the station in pieces. Bodies floated in space. The attack was quick and silent. His brother was gone. Ethan was full of pain. He returned and told the others. Now he wanted to fight. Dana showed new maps. She said more alien signals were coming from beyond Pluto. She said ships were hiding there. They were waiting. Earth had little time. Laura said they could not wait for orders. They had to act. The defense group gave her a new team. Small ships, brave people. Ethan worked day and night to fix the weapons. Dana built a blocker to stop the alien signals. They flew towards Saturn, where another alien outpost was seen. The mission was dangerous, but they had to stop the next attack. If they failed, Earth would fall next. Laura looked at the stars and whispered to herself. Earth had stayed out of the war, but the war had found Earth. The attack near Saturn was just the beginning. Laura and her team had destroyed one alien outpost, but they knew more would come. Dana's signal blocker worked for a short time, but then the aliens started sending new codes. It was clear they were adapting. They were not going to stop. Earth's leaders held a meeting. They watched the video from the mission. They saw the damage to the alien base. They listened to Dana's report. Still, they were afraid to make a public announcement. They believed if they stayed quiet, the war might pass them by. Then the aliens came closer. A small fleet of alien ships entered the solar system. They did not land. They moved around the outer planets. They destroyed a research station near Neptune. They sent a warning signal. The message was not in words. It showed images of burning cities and broken ships. The message was clear. Laura wanted to act. She asked a defense group for more ships, but there were not enough. The group had limited support. The main leaders were still not ready. They were afraid of starting a war that would destroy Earth. Then something happened that changed everything. A space station called Horizon 1 stopped sending messages. It was a station with over 300 people. Most of them were engineers, families, and students. Ethan's wife and daughter were on that station. When the station went silent, Ethan feared the worst. He tried to contact them again and again. No answer. He flew to the station with 2 defense ships. When he arrived, he saw broken parts floating in space. The station was gone. The people were gone. Ethan was silent for a long time. When he returned, he did not speak. He locked himself in the lab and worked without sleep. He started building new drones. Drones that could fight. Drones that could follow commands fast. He made them stronger and faster than before. Dana found something new in the alien data. A message from their leader. The alien voice was deep and cold. It said Earth would be used as a path to move their army. They wanted Earth's orbit and space routes. If Earth resisted, it would be destroyed. This message was the final warning. Laura went to speak to the United Earth Coalition. This time, she brought the message. She showed the broken station. She showed the faces of the lost families. She spoke in a strong voice. She said Earth had 2 choices, fight or be taken. The room was quiet. Then one voice spoke, then another. At last, the leaders agreed. Earth could no longer stay out. The war had come too close. A new group was made. It was called Earth Defense Command. It would lead the fight. Ships were gathered from all around the world. Old bases were reopened. New weapons were tested. The people of Earth began to prepare. Ethan became chief engineer. He led the team that built the new space drones. He worked with others who had lost family. They built with anger and purpose. Dana helped create a system that could read alien signals faster. She taught teams how to break codes and find weak spots in the enemy plans. She became one of the leaders in space intelligence. Laura was asked to lead the first strike group. She agreed. She trained pilots and soldiers. She picked people who were ready to defend Earth. They were not the biggest army, but they were brave. Aliens sent more scouts. This time, Earth was ready. The new drones chased them and destroyed 2 ships. It was a small win, but it gave people hope. Across the planet, people watched the news. For the first time, they saw that the war was real. Fear turned into action. Volunteers signed up. Engineers, scientists, and pilots offered their help. Earth was no longer hiding. Earth was waking up. At night, Laura stood on the roof of the command center. She looked up at the stars. She thought about the peace she once had. She thought about the people lost. She knew the next battle would be harder. The aliens would not stop. But now Earth had chosen to fight. The war was no longer far away. It was here, and Earth was ready to answer. The days passed fast. Earth Defense Command was growing stronger. New ships were built. Old ones were fixed. Cities around the world worked together. People no longer looked at the stars with wonder. Now they watched with fear. Laura trained pilots every day. She taught them how to fly in space and how to fight. She showed them how to stay calm in danger. Her team respected her. They knew she had seen real battles. She never gave long speeches. She spoke clearly and gave orders without fear. Ethan worked without rest. His drones were now ready for combat. They were fast, strong, and smart. Each drone could fight alone or in groups. They could follow ships or defend stations. He gave them simple names like Hawk, Viper, and Iron. He made them like soldiers. Dana stayed in the control center. She listened to space signals day and night. She cracked more codes and found new alien routes. Her system warned Earth of incoming threats. She also found strange messages from other alien groups. Some were afraid of the same enemy. Others were watching and waiting. One day, a message came from deep space. A small alien ship sent a distress call. The voice was weak. The words were broken. But Dana understood enough. The ship was fleeing from the enemy. It carried knowledge about a weapon the aliens feared. Laura asked for permission to rescue the ship. The leaders agreed. It was a risk, but it could help. Laura picked 5 pilots and took a fast ship called Eagle 1. Ethan sent 10 drones with her. Dana guided them with the best path. They reached the alien ship near Saturn. It was damaged and turning slowly. Laura's team moved in. To enemy ships were nearby. The drones attacked them without delay. A short fight followed. 1 drone was lost, but the enemy ships were destroyed. The alien ship was old and small. It looked like it came from a different race. Inside, they found one being. It was thin and had grey skin. It was hurt, but still alive. Dana spoke through the translator. The being said its name was Realm. It had once lived on a planet now destroyed by the same enemy Earth was facing. Realm gave them a small box. Inside were data crystals. The crystals showed the design of an energy weapon. It used sound and light to break enemy shields. Realm said it worked only at close range. But it had stopped the enemy once before. Laura brought Realm back to Earth. Doctors took care of him. Engineers studied the crystals. Ethan and Dana worked together to understand the design. It was complex, but not impossible. The team built a small test model of the weapon. They attached it to a drone and tried it in space. It worked. A strong energy wave came out and broke a test shield in seconds. Everyone was amazed. Now they had something new, something that could change the war. While they worked, the enemy came again. This time, they sent a large ship near the moon. It fired on an old station and destroyed it. Laura led a group of ships to stop it. The fight was long and hard. Many Earth ships were damaged, but the new drones helped. One drone with the new weapon flew close to the enemy ship. It fired. The energy wave hit the shield and broke it. Then Earth's missiles hit the target. The alien ship exploded. It was Earth's first real victory. People across the planet cheered. The news showed the fight. Laura, Ethan, and Dana became heroes, but they knew the war was not over. This was just the start. The enemy had many more ships, bigger and stronger ones. Relm stayed in a quiet base. He helped teach Earth scientists more about alien tech. He warned them that the enemy would return with full force. He said they had a leader who would not forgive defeat. Earth Defense Command began building more ships with the new weapon. Pilots were trained to fly close and fire at the right moment. Dana improved the signal system to track enemy moves faster. Ethan worked on bigger drones that could carry the weapon and protect others. Laura spent time with her team. She told them the truth. The next battle would be harder. But now Earth had a chance. Now they had something to fight with, and they would not run. The stars were no longer quiet. War was coming again, but Earth would not wait. Earth would be ready. The sky above Earth was not silent anymore. Radar picked up strange signals. Ships were moving beyond the moon. Dana watched the screens closely. The enemy was coming, and this time they were not hiding. Laura stood in the control room of the Earth Defense Command. She looked at the maps. Red dots filled the space near the moon. The aliens had sent a full fleet, large ships, small fighters, and strange shapes that looked like moving walls. They were ready for war. Ethan walked in with a small model in his hand. It was the new combat drone named Falcon. It carried the energy weapon that came from the alien data. He said it was ready. Hundreds of Falcons were already in orbit. Dana joined them with the latest report. The enemy fleet had split into 3 groups. One was heading to Earth's main space station. Another was moving toward the moon bases. The third was coming straight toward Earth. Laura gave orders quickly. She sent a group of fighters and drones to protect the moon. Another group flew out to stop the attack on the station. She took command of the fleet defending Earth. Her cruiser, named Liberty, led the formation. The sky turned red as the first battle started near the moon. Lasers and missiles filled the dark space. Drones flew fast and hit hard. One moon base was lost, but the other 2 held. Ethan's Falcons moved in tight groups, breaking through enemy shields. Laura's fleet met the enemy near Earth's orbit. Her cruiser fired first. The enemy answered with a blast that shook the whole ship. Shields dropped to 50%. Laura stayed calm. She gave her pilots the signal to attack. Falcons flew in waves. Each one fired the energy wave that broke enemy shields. Then the human ships moved in and finished the job. 2 enemy cruisers exploded, but Earth also lost 3 ships. The fight was not easy. Dana stayed in command control. She tracked enemy moves and gave warnings. Her system showed where the enemy ships were weakest. She sent updates every second. Her eyes never left the screen. The fight lasted for hours. Earth's ships were faster, but the aliens had more. Slowly, the battle moved closer to Earth. Some enemy ships broke through the defense. One ship fired at a city. It was stopped by a drone, but part of the city was hit. People were hurt. The world saw it live on the news. Laura pushed her ship forward, She saw the enemy flagship. It was bigger than anything she had seen. It looked like a black tower with glowing red lines. She knew that ship had to fall. She called Ethan. Ethan had one special drone left. It was stronger than all the others. It was built for one mission. He called it Titan. It had a large energy weapon and thick armor. He gave it the target. Titan flew alone toward the flagship. Enemy ships tried to stop it, but Falcons cleared the way. Titan reached the flagship and fired. The wave hit the shield. It broke. Then missiles from Liberty and other ships hit the flagship. It cracked and broke in two. The enemy started to fall back. Some ships exploded. Others ran. Earth's ships chased them. The sky cleared. The battle was over. On the ground, people cried and cheered. They had seen the worst, but they had also seen victory. Earth had survived the first full attack. Laura walked through her ship. Many were hurt. Some had died. She sat with the wounded and thanked them. She told them they had saved the planet. Ethan looked at the sky from the repair dock. He missed his family, but he knew their loss had not been in vain. His drones had helped save millions. Dana stood in the control room. She watched the empty space beyond Earth. The enemy had left, but she knew they would return. She promised to be ready. Later, the leaders of Earth spoke to the people. They said Earth was now part of the galaxy. They said Earth had power, but also duty. They would not run or hide again. Earth would protect itself and help others. Laura stood with them. Her voice was strong. She said Earth was no longer a silent world. It had found its voice. It had found its strength. And it would never be ignored again. The days after the battle were quiet. Earth had won, but the cost was heavy. Many lives were lost. Cities were hurt. Ships were broken. But people were not afraid anymore. They had seen what they could do together. Laura stood on a hill outside the city. She looked at the sky. Workers were fixing buildings. Children were playing. Again, she smiled for the first time in many days. She knew peace would not last, but she was glad to see it now. Dana stayed busy in the command center. She searched for signals from far space. She found strange patterns, but nothing close. It seemed the enemy had pulled back. Maybe they were planning something new. Maybe they were afraid. Ethan was building again. This time, he was not just making drones. He worked on a new ship, one that could travel far beyond Earth. He wanted to see where the enemy came from. He wanted to make sure Earth would not be surprised again. One day, a message arrived. It came from another world. It was not from the enemy. It was from a peaceful race called the Aris. Their ships had seen the battle near Earth. They were impressed by how Earth had fought. They wanted to meet and talk. The leaders of Earth agreed. A small group of Aris came in a silver ship. They were tall, with soft faces and glowing eyes. They spoke in calm voices. They told stories of other worlds that had been attacked. They said the enemy was called the Drek. The Aris said the Drek had taken many planets. They moved fast and destroyed everything in their path. But Earth had done something no one else had. Earth had stopped them. The Aris offered friendship. They wanted to share knowledge and work together. They said if more worlds joined, they could stop the Drek for good. Laura sat in the meeting with the Aris. She asked many questions. She wanted to know where the Drek came from. The Aris showed maps. The Drek came from a dark part of the galaxy. No one had gone there and returned. It was full of danger. Dana asked for help with her signal system. The heiress gave her new tools. Now she could hear signals from much farther away. She found weak signals from lost planets. Some cried for help, others warned of danger. It showed how big the war really was. Ethan showed the heiress his new ship. They helped him make it faster and stronger. It could now fly to places no Earth ship had ever reached. He named it the Voyager. After weeks of talks, the leaders of Earth made a choice. They would not wait for the next attack. They would send ships to help others. They would stand with the heiress and fight the Drek together. Laura was chosen to lead the first mission. She would take a team of pilots and engineers. Ethan would go with her. Dana would stay and guide them from Earth. The Voyager would lead the fleet. People across Earth watched the launch. The ships rose into the sky with fire and light. It was not just a mission, it was a message. Earth was no longer alone. Earth had joined the galaxy. The fleet flew into deep space. They found a small planet under attack. The Drek were there, burning the sky and crushing the land. Laura gave the order. The fleet moved in. Falcons flew first. The energy weapons broke the Drek shields. The Voyager fired its new cannons. The planet's people, small and brown-skinned with wide eyes, watched from shelters. They had never seen help come before. The battle was short. The Drek were not ready for Earth's strength. They pulled back. The planet was saved. After the fight, Laura landed and met the planet's people. They touched her hand and thanked her. Ethan gave them supplies. He helped fix broken machines. The people smiled and cried. Back on Earth, Dana listened to their voices over the radio. She knew the war was not over, but something had changed. Earth had made a mark. Now other races called for help. Earth sent teams to teach, build, and defend. More ships were made. More people joined. The sky above Earth was no longer a wall. It was a road. Laura flew from one world to another. Ethan kept building better tools. Dana listened and watched. Together, they made Earth a name of hope. The Drek were still out there, strong and dangerous. But they were no longer the only power. Now, they faced something new. They faced a world that had once stayed out of the war. A world that now stood in the light. And that world was Earth.